Go Birds!
Go Birds!
Yeah, baby. It's John Duffin with Duffin Media, and welcome back to another episode of Your Monday Motivation, where me and our superstar lender partner, Chad Levine, get to kickstart your week. Good morning, buddy. How's it going?
Dude, how's it going? I mean, mentally, I'm fired up. Physically, I'm a 40-year-old body trying to rise after that Sunday. I mean, I will tell you something, man. Let's just state the obvious, because if we don't, we're doing a disservice to our viewership, which is a predominant Philadelphia base.
Damn right. So we're like, this is really going to our Philadelphia crew and anybody who salutes the Philadelphia Eagles. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not proud to be from this city, I don't know what to say. I mean, I really don't. It is an amazing feeling. And let's start there, John, because you said it. When you spoke to me this morning, you said it's not just the game itself, right? The next 2 weeks, we're going to be riding a high.
Right. And it's an unusual one that most cities don't get to experience. And when you do, you don't get to experience it every year. And this next fun. Oh, listen. And by the way, in Phoenix, Cowboy Tom, George, and I'm leaving some people out. Get the extra room ready because I will be there. And I have very high demands. That's Sandra Lee. Yay. Thank you for chiming in, Sandra. It's great to have you here.
Sandra Lee. We appreciate your viewership.
Right. And by the way, so everybody in Phoenix, be aware.
Wait, you're going?
Listen, I don't want to be the one who goes there without accommodation, but I know some Phoenix friends, and I am literally putting this out for the record. I make a great house guest. I'm very appreciative. I'm very neat. Oh, I'm very demanding too because I have my specs.
I thought you were gonna say you make like a great paella or something like that. You know,
I don't cook a lick, but I buy really well. So the fact is, right? It's just going to be fun, and you don't have to do anything. It's a Monday morning. You could treat it, if you're in Philly, the same way as any other Monday morning. But why not ride the wave a little bit here in terms of moving the needle forward? Why the hell not? It's a
John,
atmosphere.
Let's put this in the
perspective. By the way, baby.
Let's put the Steve-O. What up, brother?
Oh, yeah.
Steve is a beast, man. Sales guy, big motivating guy. He can get you rocking. But listen, I mean, I want to a couple other things. Obviously, first of all, Philadelphia is the city of grit, right?
Damn right.
Talk about a show that, in my opinion, is shot in the right place, speaking to the right people, right? I mean, it's a city of grit. We love. And it's funny, John. I was listening to sports radio on the way in. You know, Angelo's Angelo's retiring this year. Do you know that?
Absolutely, it's crazy. Congratulations! I can't believe, and he will be so badly missed.
John, the crazy part is he's going out with a World Series and a Super Bowl.
How about that?
A Super Bowl and a Super Bowl. I mean, and what I guess what I'm trying to get at is, you know. Our show is all about helping you find things to connect with that can get that rocket fuel, that kick in your arse, right? And no better way than to get it from your surrounding community. Philadelphia is an electric city, and for all the negative media we get, which by the way we love, we enjoy we feed off of your negativity. It's so funny to me, John. For some reason. You know, and it's more of an emotional play. People don't realize we love that you hate us.
Oh, you like the fact you don't want to play a victim card, and we're not. No. The fact of the matter is, it's just that sense that you feed off of other people's doubt. And so when the city comes through, that's when it just feels. I love that you said that. Look, last night after the game, and it's like I'm feeling a little beat up, and I did nothing. It's not like I was climbing poles instead of. I'm a little old and way out of shape for that. But what I will say, just taking the walk down the Broad Street, it's like such a privilege. The place was going insane, and you just got to feel the energy, and everybody's in a good mood. And it's like, and so these are the things where it's like, look, if you're watching us and you're not in Philadelphia and you don't feel the vibe, that's fine. I get it. You'll get your turn. But for anyone in our viewer base in, around, saluting Philadelphia, take this. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
And for my Phoenix friends, it's not just that I'll be there. It's one of the coolest atmospheres ever to be around Super Bowl week.
I wouldn't know. I've never been.
Okay, so I was in Miami several years ago, and it's the best. The city just gets incredible. So it's a fun time. Now it's like today, it's like, so what do you do with this? And I was thinking, and you and I talked before, but it's twofold. You could really take this wave and do nothing, which would be a big mistake. You could take this Monday and be like, oh, I'm tired, and oh, I was out, and oh, well, that I'll get it back on Tuesday.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I'm not loving all the glare and the lights. It's like, Jesus, where the hell's my makeup crew? Where's hair and makeup when you need them? But it's worth it, because if you take, I've done this before. If you take it and I'll just nap today. Tomorrow I'll be so ready. I'm not. And I'm just speaking for me. I ain't telling anybody what to do, but I'm telling you right now that it's like, okay, so I'll just do it a little bit tired. I'll just do it a little bit, a little less physically strong. Who cares? And to me, this is what will be fun today. And when you and I were talking and you popped this quote of the day, I just found it awesome, because I do feel like you get these opportunities to ride a wave. You get these opportunities to allow momentum to at least get you started. You talk about that kickstart. Well, here's one. And if you don't rock off of this one, that's okay. That's fine. There's other ways to go, but it's what the hell do you do with a little bit of momentum other than just waste it? And that's where you want to throw up the quote of the day. Throw out, I think is a better way to say that. It's not just John's, but we'll take it. Chad Levine actually fueled today's quote. So I give credit where credit is due, where the quote that Chad fed us is, I can't change the direction of the wind, but I can adjust my sails to always reach my destination. Feeling a little bit hungry for sausage? That's Jimmy Dean. And don't Google Jimmy Dean, because you'll read a bunch of complaints about metal and sausage. Stick with the heart of the quote. And understand. And buddy, to stay with your theme that you put on the table, you want me to go 2 minutes?
I think so.
Done. That's done. Oh my God, there's the timer. So this is what we're talking about in this regard. What can you do with the adjustment, pivot? We talk about game plans and coaches. Chad and I were talking right now with Nick Sirianni, who is also one of my favorite people. And I know I sound like such a front runner, head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. How the Eagles, Nick Sirianni, pivoted, audibled game plan to make certain that the changes that the other team brought are going to be taken and worked with to make certain that the Eagles got the end result. What do you do with that? What do I do with that? Is realize that you don't get to call all the rules. We're at the end of January. Did the January go exactly the way that you wanted it to? I'll speak for me. Some good, some eh. You've got to be able to pivot, call the audible, be able to, how about me throwing all these terms around? But you can pivot and take the opportunity to change your plan, revise the plan. Don't give up on your plan. Just take the current information. It's like, okay, here's January. Here's what occurred. Take 5 minutes today, no more. Don't blow any other momentum. Take 5 minutes and think about the past month. 3 things you did well. 3 things that could have gone better. It's information. That's all it is. It's information. Don't beat yourself up. There's nothing more. Take that and it's like, okay, here's what I now know. I now know this information-wise. What are you going to do about it? Find one thing that it's like, okay, I have this new information. Here's my plan. I'll pivot the game plan a little bit for myself. It is literally this. We're now in February. I'm getting more opportunities to speak, guest host podcasts. What am I going to do with it? You're going to find out.
And he's down to the wire, folks.
And now we get our translator, superstar Chad Levine, who's going to translate all that nonsense in a way that you can understand.
Well, let me tell you what I try and break it down. I call it street level because John's a philosopher and he will go so deep it's not even funny. Basically, the message today is understanding that the pivot. That's the key word, pivot.
Right.
Pivot is a powerful thing. But think about how difficult it is for you to change direction, right? Most people don't want to. They're creatures of habit. They get content, right? They have their daily routines and they don't want to pivot. But honestly, if you don't pivot, you can't expect a different result. If you don't make a change, one of the hardest things these coaches have in the NFL, especially Sirianni, and they showed it. John, when I was telling you, I was screaming, run the ball the whole time. I hate to say this, Nick. I know you're not going to watch this show, but
you don't know that. You don't know that.
We told you this when you started here. We said if you want to make your passing game stronger, you've got to establish the run because it equally balances everyone. And you didn't listen. You didn't listen until the second half. And when you started to listen, everything changed. Okay. So the whole point of this, the whole point in saying this is you have to be adaptable. You have to be versatile. You have to have the ability to change your game plan at any moment. It's not easy. It's not fun. It can be expensive. It's super uncomfortable. It can feel weird. It's scary. It can make you anxious. I mean, I can go on and on and on. I did it. I did it professionally. I made a huge pivot in my life. I was a trained pharmacist, wanted to take over a family business, always had a knack and a love for real estate, knew I couldn't physically get out and do it, loved finance. So I said, screw it. I'll try mortgages. I am absolutely obsessed with it. I love it. And honestly, was it scary? Yeah. Was it something I didn't know what would happen? Absolutely. Was it the greatest pivot I've made so far? 100%.
Great.
So you've got to realize that there's some level of anxiousness and nervousness and big risk. There's a risk involved, but you and your mind have to know when you have to make that pivot, whether it's a change in your actual game plan, a change in your career, a change in your life. That pivot is going to be essential. It's going to be essential, and it's going to take balls, John. I'm saying balls, big footballs.
Well, on national TV. Oh my God.
It's going to take balls. It's going to take balls, right? But you have to have. So the keys to this today is when to make the pivot. How do I know when the right time is, right? How to start putting the wheels in motion to set up a plan to make that pivot. And then when you're doing it, how do you execute and hold yourself accountable? Because that's going to be key, right? There's so many things. I'm telling you, John, I'm the ideas guy. I've got 6 bazillion ideas, and I waste money every day on something. The problem is once that idea started, how do you execute it and make it successful, which is the second part of what John wanted to talk about, which is getting to the finish line with the Super Bowl. So that's it for me. Today, I think this week, John, we talk about the pivot, and next week we talk about getting to that finish line.
I think it sounds great because I love that you did that. Thank you. Because when you've got new information, whatever it is, business-wise, whatever you've learned, market's strong, the market's weak, you're getting more calls to be a podcast guest, a podcast host, a public speaker, whatever the hell, whatever your deal is. The fact of the matter is, it's new information. I'm not getting booked enough for voiceover. Okay, so got it. Understand. So what do I do to circumvent that? I now know. And should I be auditioning for different places? Should I be really doubling down on certain things? This is where you ask yourself that accountability that you were talking about with the new information. You ask yourself a couple of questions or allow someone to ask you. And I say a couple so that you will pivot. And
When do
again,
you think, John? When do you think, like in your mind, right? Because you made a big change.
Absolutely in 2019.
Yeah. So
Still am, as a matter of fact.
What is it? Was it what in your gut,
Mhm.
right? Told you had to make the pivot.
Yep. So circumstances, the first one were actually circumstances, but really the gut part was this, that you see this, you're at a certain age. For me, I was at a certain age, and I had this nagging thing. You've got to try this, the voice work. And specifically, what do I mean? Creating a voice career. It literally, the narration, all of that, the public speaking, all of that was like, well, look, here's a open window. You can allow yourself to get so immersed in stuff, right?
What was it, to make it more personal?
Yeah.
You don't have to be that specific. What was the circumstance? What was the circumstance?
Yeah. So the circumstance was very specifically my position at Univision, my last corporate career job, ended at the beginning of 2019.
Did it end? And was it your choice to end it?
Mutual.
Okay.
And very much, yeah. I definitely was thinking, I was feeling, for me personally, the sign at that moment was I wasn't appreciating the good things, and I was really feeling the bad things.
And then how far before the actual day came did it start to go in your mind?
At least a few months. At least a few months.
Okay.
Where I remember thinking, I'm not appreciating the big clothes that I got. I'm not appreciating the fact, hey, Bonnie, good morning. We're not
Bonnie a number?
Bonnie Brooks, right? I hope so. Oh my God! Well, listen, that seems to be a good clue. But the fact is, you closed the big auto deal with Chrysler Jeep Dodge.
But I want to get into this. Your story is intriguing to me because it brings relevancy to the topic. So so the day comes where you have to make a change. At that point, that's it. It comes.
Oh, I absolutely.
Were you ready?
No. All I knew was, and let me answer the question better. Yeah. I'm not taking the words back. The question was, in my mind, was I ready? Absolutely.
Yeah. Right.
In the process, having the equipment, the finances, your website, all that. No. Right. All I knew is I had to do something, or the time my thought was, where the time would run out.
And let me ask you this. But let me ask you this. Now looking back on it, and we call it 2020 vision.
Yep.
Do you wish that the moment that you started to think about it, that you could have put a plan in place? Do you think
Absolutely, yes. So that's to me the real trigger, which is you can optimize. Like, I don't regret even a moment of that process. Loved every bit of what I did. I'm not trying to sugarcoat it. What I would say is, if I was doing it again, it would have been more concrete in this month I'm doing X. This will be completed. The website will be done. This will be this. I'll hire this coach. I'll do that sort of thing. That would have been done. There was time to do it. And here's what, if you want to make it personal and specific, here's the one thing that occurred with me that I would say to other people: try to push past this stuff. You get really cloudy with pressure. It's the best way I could say it. Yeah. So the pressure of a new decision, the pressure of what's going on in your present circumstance, and then all of a sudden, it's all kind of like a mask, right? And you know what I mean? And you're like, okay, I can't process this. I can't think. The suggestion, try something. You don't have to solve all the world's problems today. It's Monday after the NFC Championship, but what you could do is just ask yourself one question. This is not the only question, but here's one. What could you have done differently in January that you could implement in February? One thing, just one thing. Don't overthink it. What could I do differently? So back then, it would have been have a written game plan for my voiceover company, my speaking company. Have the written game plan with the steps. Okay, now I know. So what do you do?
It's interesting because what you're saying is, and this is very true. This is the nugget here. If you sense a pivot's going to come, try and do it when there's no emotion involved.
Absolutely.
Create emotion a game plan
with decisions.
When you're clear, make the game plan then, right? Think about it. It's like going into halftime and understanding you have to run the ball. Understanding you have to run the ball, right? same thing. If you had a plan in place, and I'm not knocking you, I'm saying like we're giving advice for our viewers. If you're feeling a change has to happen, right? You usually get some sort of sense with giving you the time, right? There's a little bit of time involved. Not always. Sometimes you get the rug pulled from under you, right? But a lot of times you have some warning. And it's usually your gut. It's your instinct.
Oh, it's 100% your gut.
And it's saying, hey, something's going to have to change. It's inevitable, right? But let's talk about it internally or with somebody else now, right? Good time to hire a coach, by the way, FYI.
A great time. I didn't know in 2019, right? In 2019, I didn't know that I was going to morph into an executive coach. If you had asked me in 2019, it didn't cross my mind. And the fact of the matter is, but the clues were there. The clues were there. And this is the thing that I would suggest how I get to, I'll speak for me, how I get to improve February 2023, right, is simply a matter of you're asking yourself a couple of questions. Because when it's only a couple, then you'll answer them and then you'll take action. If you then take out a 30-page analysis of all that, well, then you're right back to all the emotion, all the clouds, all the mask, and then you don't do anything with it. So to move forward, the kickstart part, ask folks, which I'm doing, ask myself 2 questions. Number 1, what did I do in January that I could differently? And what is it? Chad Naxon, baby. Yay. Now it's complete. Thank you, Chad Naxon. That makes me very happy. Number 1, what did you do in what did I do in January that I could do differently in February? And number 2, the only other question is this. With this new information, how am I going to pivot, audible, make one change? One. For me, once I do one thing, then the other ideas start to flow, and then I'll do 2 things and all that stuff. But if you're starting from a point of 0, just your old information, and then you just sit there and just keep going, like I said, Double D, that you just literally said, and you just sit there and just keep hitting that same wall, then nothing changes. So for me today, it's like, here's your Monday, here's your opportunity, here's the wind, so to speak, that's of the sail, of the change of literally, okay, this is great. Eagles are in the AFC Championship. It was such a fun weekend. We got 2 weeks of just feeling great about the city, the team, all that stuff. I can do one thing, which is this. It is, thank you, by the way, which is literally, here you go, and talk to somebody. And this is it for myself. It's like, how am I better positioning myself as an executive coach, because it's what I do, and I feel like it's my calling. So that's what I'll do differently for this month. How do I do it? And we'll get to the finish line next week when you talked about it as well, too, which I love.
No, I think, John, what resonates with me, what brings home this show is when we bring our own stories into it.
Right.
And I think you made a huge pivot professionally. Huge.
Yep.
And I think what happened is, you were a little caught off guard, and you adapted well. And the point I'm trying to get across, which is always, I want everyone to walk away with stuff, is that if a pivot's going to happen, which it happens a lot, especially for successful people or people that want to make a change. Look, if you're good, if you're in a solid career and you're making money and you're putting away retirement and you're happy in your life, that's
you're happy, right? Go do it.
But let's be honest, that's not the majority. That's not the majority. It just isn't. So pivot or change is going to happen. And we're just trying to help you get ahead of that pivot, trying to help you prepare for that pivot, and then try to help you push into it in a way that makes you more successful.
Absolutely. And I love this. I freaking love this. Makes me happy. It energizes me. Superstar Chad Levine. Anything else you think we can hit on today?
No, man. I would just. What's that?
I think you crushed it, brother.
Listen,
dude, I'm like I get weird, like emotional with that, and I'm literally feeling myself.
Look, we like to come up with things, and that's good, John. I'm telling you, this is, everyone always says, what makes shows good, right? What differentiates something?
Right.
I'm not up here talking about bland subject matter. Like, that's the part I can't. It's like these videos that you have to make. It's like blah 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 blah. Like, that's not. We're here. We're doing ourselves a justice by providing these messages, right?
Right.
So prepare for the pivot.
Prepare
for the pivot, right? Nick Sirianni prepared for the pivot. Yeah. That's why the Eagles won, right? Jalen was off his mark. He wasn't. I'm back to
throwing well yesterday.
He wasn't throwing well. Things weren't going well. So you go back to the stabilization of the run. You give it to Miles Sanders, and you give it to Gainwell, and you give it to Boston Scott,
exactly. Right, yep.
And you sit there and you're like, and you felt more comfortable. So, and the other point I want to get across, which is a plug for you, John, it's that the coaching becomes so important at life-changing moments, right? That's when people. When do people reach out to coaches? When they need them. When they mentally feel like they need them. Want to know the reality? You should have the coach before then.
Before
then. It helps you through it.
Fast. You think better then, but you don't do it. I'll speak for me, but you don't do it until. So I'm typically dealing with clients at a moment, not necessarily of crisis, but certainly as a result of confusion. And that's my job in terms of relaying my direct experience in terms of how they're navigating, optimizing communication, literally by leveraging your voice sometimes, but often it's the way that you think and it's what you do. So,
and if you want to prepare for the pivot, hire John Duffin.
Boom. And listen, you have to, and I'm not just, first off, thank you. And always happy to help anybody. It makes me happy to do so. And my buddy, Chad Levine, who is literally superstar coach, superstar lender, superstar, period. I've learned and gotten so much from my buddy, Chad Levine. You guys, folks, you should be as well, too. That's why we're here. Literally, that's why we're here. That's the Monday motivation. Your Monday motivation.
We're going to get the website. So our show goals, and by the way, John, sorry, I know we're almost at 30 minutes, but
boom, 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 boom.
Our 2023 goals for the show, okay, is to have a yourmondaymotivation.com website, right, and a YouTube. Maybe we'll just forward the URL to the YouTube for now. So that you guys can watch previous episodes. Jason from Make It Better Marketing, I just gave you another task. The list just keeps growing. Sorry, buddy. But that's our goal at Your Monday Motivation, so that you guys can more easily find these episodes and use them as a tool for yourself. I'm done, John. I'm done.
That's great. We go, and again, folks, when you do that, we go progressive. Like I said, again, that it's worth seeing them. See them in any order you feel like it when this is all in the life. But honest to God, it's like, hopefully you get value from it. I know I do. So, folks, I'm just hoping you get the same as well. So I'm feeling really damn good to move forward. So
I'm ready
to take us out, brother. I'm thrilled with, like I said, again, folks, I am thrilled that you got to show up for us today. And every Monday, 10 a.m. for Your Monday Motivation. When what are we going to do, Chad Levine?
Your weekly kick in the arse.
That makes me so damn happy. Because you get it out so much better and tougher. So thank you all for being here.
We are going to the Super Bowl. Super Bowl bound. That's the end. That's when we cut it. We're done, Zoe.